deck soap. 1. Practice social distancing. 2. Wear your mask when leaving the house. 3. Wash your hands regularly for 20 seconds using our deck soap. 4. Cover your nose and mouth with a disposable tissue or flex elbow when you cough or sneeze. Choose deck soap for that extra cleanliness. Deck soap is a
It is 13 hours 4 in Guyana and right across the Eastern Caribbean. A pleasant Tuesday afternoon to you and welcome to Wake Up Guyana. Of course, joining us on Wake Up Guyana is Mr. Leonard Gildarie, Senior Journalist of Kaieteur News. Leonard, a pleasant good afternoon to you.
Yes, thank you very much, dear Joshua Van Steitman. Down in our controls there at Kaieteur Radio, Saffron Street, 24 Saffron Street, and it is your biggest radio station in the entire Guyana. I want to say good day to you, and there is much news to be for us to share with you today. Major developments in Berbice there, block roads, reports of robberies, burning vehicles, people being hurt, people being shot. At 2 o'clock, we're going to be joined by our reporter up in Berbice there, Melissa Plater Harry, and she's going to give us an update as to what is happening. What we could tell you at the moment is that they have been able to rush security forces down to that area to be able to allow traffic to go through and have a control of that situation, which seemed to be out of hand. There were many reports last evening of properties being damaged, of robberies, of glasses of vehicle being broken. This morning, of a paddy truck set on fire, damage to a Bakewell vehicle. Those are all stories that are happening there as persons that has been protesting for justice has allowed the situation to slip away into something else. It has become a situation that seems to be out of control at the moment. The police are working very hard to bring it back. They have slipped down a number of security forces to that area there, including the members of the joint services, and they're trying to get and handle of that situation here. What we could also tell you at the moment, while that is happening, in a very short while, you've been demanding it, and we have been able to get the good folks. In a very short while, we are going to have top officials of the Public Utilities Commission on this radio program here, the Wake Up Guyana show with your host, Leonard Gildarie. And they're going to be telling you if you have problems with those top utilities companies like the Guyana Power and Light Inc., GPL, Guyana Water Inc., GWI, and of course the GT&T, Guyana Telephone and Telegraph Inc., although that's a foreign company, it also falls under the regulations of the Public Utilities Commission, which make sure that they keep according to their license, which is that they have to deliver services. And if it is that they have messed up, if it is that they are not doing something, the PUC and their officials are going to be here to tell you what is it that you can do, what is it that remains within your power as a consumer that you can do. So they're going to be here like about 1:15 thereabouts. I'm going to tell our boys down in the studio to get ready for us to bring on the good folks down there at the PUC. I want to say good day to the chairperson, Miss Dila Britton, and the rest of the hardworking staff. And of course, I want to say good day to all Guyana, whether you're in Berbice, Demerara, Esquivel. It is the Wake Up Guyana show, and it is a very serious day. It is September the 8th. We're getting on. We have 3 more months after this month here to the end of the year. And what a year it has been. It's a year that we will want to forget in a very big hurry, not only Guyana, but the rest of the world. That is because it has been so hurtful, so painful. We would have seen that major explosion there in Turkey. In Guyana, it's a pandemic. In Guyana, it was the elections 2020. That was a tsunami on the Guyanese people along with the pandemic. So we're basically trying to recover. And while we recover now, hearing news about this killing of the 2 persons, the police are appealing. I think they would have met with Barbicians today, persons in the West Berbice area who were hurting from this entire incident, and they're saying, look, we need to gather evidence. You need to give us some time. We need to allow the roads to be cleared, allow us to do our work. That's what they're saying to the people. So we want to say a good day to the good people in Berbice there. We know that you're hurting also, but this is not the answer. Morning, the reports of looting, we're going to try to get an understanding as to what exactly, but we've seen various photographs, images that is emerging now, videos of last evening there being pellets, shotgun pellets, persons being shot. We're not sure it is unconfirmed reports. We've seen photographs of that. So we're going to try to bring you details as to that, and we could also tell you, in addition to um, what is happening. Tomorrow happens to be budget. Several roads are going to be closed around the Artichon Convention Center there on the railway embankment line. And I can tell you in a very short while, during the show here, we're going to discuss some of the measures, big measures. You've been asking about the increase in pension. Well, you've gotten it. It might not have been the amount that you're looking for, but there has been an increase on several removal of taxes, among other things. There is going to be they're going to allow vehicles more than 8 years old to be coming into the country. The reintroduction of allowing used tires back into the countries. So there's been a variety of measures that's been introduced by this government that's going to come in this 4 months budget. I think it's a $20 billion I'm hearing that budget is worth. And so there's about 45 or so measures announced by no other than President Irfan Ali. So we're going to be telling you, have a discussion on that because it's very important. You've been asking, and these are some of the things that they've been talking about to allow some very short-term measures to be in place for the hard-hit families. In the meantime, while they come out and talk about that $25,000, we are waiting that. They are scheduled to come out and do that. But tomorrow is budget day, and it is for a short 4 months, so we could be able to spend some money and right this economy from where it has been. So in a very short while we await our boys long in the studio to tell us the persons that are coming on for the public utilities company. Let's tell you very quickly what are some of the big headlines that are dominating the news today. And so it is on the Kaieteur newspaper, the largest selling daily, and of course they are leading the way when it comes to the news. I want to say good day to Mr. Leonard and the rest of the folks there, Kaieteur News, as well as its sister company, Kaieteur Radio. And they've been working very, very hard to make sure that you're getting the news as is without taking any particular sides, and we're giving it to you. And the big news is that protest continues over the gruesome murder of Berbice teens, and we would have been talking about that, and we will be talking about that in a very short while. Government Exxon not seen eye to eye on several issues on the PIR permit, and this is a very good news for me as far as I'm concerned. It means that this government is not bending over backwards, that they see that there are opportunities that that exist for the people of Guyana when it comes to getting a better deal. And we've been talking about this over the last couple of months. Let's see what happens. Could our people get a better deal? Well, we depend on our government, this new government, to ensure that we do. Because we need the money. Guyana needs the money badly, and in order to help our people out through this pandemic and make a better life for ourselves on the longer term of things. So gruesome murder in Berbice teens, farmer, son, handyman, and 2 others in custody. I'm glad to see that something for them to have been arresting other persons. It means that there's some development with the investigation. Somebody would have had to say something and point to other persons, and so there's some other. This for me speaks of development, and so I would like to see as early as possible. Well, like in any case, you don't want to rush it through, and then it goes before the thing. The 72 hours is emergent very quick. It's going to be over very quickly. They would have to apply for more time to keep this rice farmer and his employees and his relatives in custody. They're innocent until proven guilty, but I'm just reporting the news as it says here. $330 billion, national budget to be presented tomorrow. It says $330 billion. I'm not sure. I got to find out back about this. Ponzi scheme was slapped with yet another 14 fraud charges. President Irfan Ali announced string of tax measures, no VAT on electricity and water. Asymptomatic COVID-19 case no longer infectious after 13 days. DCMO. Well, I'm still going to make sure that I protect myself. I haven't been tested positive, and I would have heard that news since last week. And waiting almost 11, 12 days, almost 2 weeks. 2 weeks plus another 2 weeks almost is going to be up. There's almost an entire month. So I've gone past the 13 days. But I'm still going to make sure that I wear my mask. And so I want you to do that too, because there's the only way. It's the only way that we could reduce the spread of this virus which has so crippled Guyana and the rest of the world. Dr. Adams' expertise would be used in the rightful place. President Ali, good news also. Ali, Dr. Adams would have been somebody at the EPA who stood up against Exxon and says you need to do better. But he has been placed aside, sent on leave, and President Ali says he is going to be used because we need all hands on deck at the moment. So this is good news. Miner's body found wrapped in hammock. World Bank calls on government development institutions to endorse zero routine flaring by 2013. So the pressure is mounting on Exxon to ensure that it does whatever it has to do when it comes to protecting our environment and so on and so forth. So in the meantime, while we await the officials down from the PUC to come on board, let me tell you a little about what is happening with regards to what's happening with regards to these measures introduced by President Irfan Ali. And there is that news also with the Harbour Bridge. The Harbour Bridge, there would have been officials. The Minister of Public Works, Juan Edel, would have met with the truck drivers, the heavy-duty truck drivers, the heavy-duty trucks that are crossing the bridge filled with sand and whatever else that they carry on a daily basis. They would have been halted in their tracks because the bridge is undergoing some repairs or about to, and the bridge cannot take any heavy weight at the moment. They are looking at alternatives to moving the equipment across the bridge, which includes a barge. In the meantime, the authorities are warning that any speeding on the bridge by heavy-duty equipment could see a long-term ban or a ban of those truck drivers. So we are gonna continue to bring those stories as they come about. So in the meantime, we're waiting our people down in Kaieteur News to bring all our folks down from the PUC. We're waiting them, and so let's see what happens here. So we're gonna wait on the reversal of VAT on, and so George, do we have all the folks here? I'm not sure what is happening. But in the meantime, reversal of VAT on electricity. Josh, I've been minimized here, so I'm going to have to ask you to lead the way when our folks down in at let me see. I think that's take 1 second, 1 second, folks. Let me just make sure that we have all our people here.
It came off camera.
Yes. So do we have everybody on board with the PUC today? Everybody is here?
Mr. Gildarie, good afternoon. This is Dealer Britain.
How are you doing, my dear chairperson? Good afternoon.
Thank you so much from the PUC here.
It's lovely to hear your voice, Mr. Gildarie.
Well, it was going, I think, yesterday, and it's so good. I'm seeing you guys here now, and it's so good. We were supposed to get today, according to what I was told, the chairperson of Daily Britain, Des Reborn, as well as Nikita Samwaru. How are you guys doing today? I think we are waiting on the rest of the folks while we get it set up, because a lot of folks would have been coming on to us, asking us various questions. I have problems with GWI, I have problems with with the GTNP, as well as GPL. So in the meantime, while we're getting ourselves ready there, and I think our boys down in the studio is going to make sure that they tell us when they're fully ready, so we can go right ahead. Let us tell you about some of the measures that would be in the budget tomorrow that's going to be presented. There's going to be a reversal on all value-added tax on water and electricity, a removal of VAT and duties on machinery equipment to allow for recapitalization. So if you have a business and you want to bring in new equipment, they're saying that they're removing the VATs and the duties for that. So that's good. They are granting tax concessions on ATVs and mining, forestry, agriculture, and manufacturing. There is going to be a reversal on the land lease increases back to the rate it was at the end of 2014. So what you see in here is about 4 or 5 odd measures that would have been introduced here by our people. So we are going to await that. 1 second, let me bring exit min thing. So good. So we back there. So our boys would tell us. So it's a reversal, it's a removal of VAT and fertilizers, agrochemicals, pesticides, key inputs in the poultry industry, reversal of VAT on exports, removal of VAT on hinterland travel, something that they've been talking about. Tourism people have been killing for this. Removal of VAT on all medical supplies. Good news, we have pandemic at the moment, so we need these medications to be as inexpensive as we can. We are seeing, we are also I think you guys, when you guys are ready, you tell me, Miss Dealer Britain, and you folks just tell me when you're ready so we can get right down into the hang of things.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gildarie. We are ready, but I don't see the complaints manager online. I don't know if your administrator is seeing her, but we have the engineer and myself. And can we ask that we come off camera, or are we on camera?
Well, one is on camera at the moment. I think that's Mr. Nikita Samwaru, or is that
Yes.
that's true. I'm not sure which one. So you guys tell me whether you want to be on camera or not. I'm not sure.
I would prefer to be off camera because I'm at home, and I prefer I prefer not to be on camera. But you know what? I am going to start my video, Mr. Gildarie. We haven't seen each other for a while, so I just want to say hello.
Why you looking pretty, man? So what are you worried about? The gentleman is well dressed too, so we're not too worried about that.
You know what they say about flattery? It gets you absolutely nowhere, Mr. Gildarie.
No, well, my mother says it's better for you to be respectful to all others, or else you're gonna get, she had a belt. I can remember one point that I was over 5 or 6, and let me sidetrack a little. And I said a bad word, and I knew she was looking at me, and she was coming after me, and I ran into the bathroom, and I believe it was all over. The coast is clear. So Gildarie came out, and the mother. That's when I learned that my mother is a very tough individual.
Yeah.
They had something, if a lot of guys don't know about it, board pepper, and you're a small little boy.
Oh, yes, I know.
She rubbed the board pepper in my mouth. And so for a very long time, I didn't use any bad words, especially as a little boy in front of my mom. I use a bad word sometimes. I use a bad word sometimes. Yes, politics and people would make me use some bad words. I will admit that it's not a good thing. And so I try to bring it down. I try to temper it around people. But bad words is not a good thing to use around your mother, I can tell you.
No, or around anybody. Anyway, Good afternoon. I'd like to introduce to you Mr. Nikita Samwaru. I am hoping that Ms. Bourne joins us shortly, because I believe she would be an integral part of this exercise, especially the background conversation we would have had yesterday, especially on how you want to conduct today's interview. But I believe you should start with us. If you give me a moment to come off camera to find out from our internal people as to what might have happened to Ms. Bourne, so I can report to you. If you could give me 2 minutes. Thank you.
Go right ahead. And so I'm going to get into it. So let me tell you about the PUC, and I'm just going to give you a little raw overview of the PUC. The PUC is the regulator. So the PUC, in the meantime, could our guys just mute Ms. Dealer Britain's mic here. So the PUC is the body that regulates all the utilities companies in Guyana, and they have rules under which they operate. They have to ensure that they bring certain, like the Guyana Telephone and Telegraph Company. They were mandated, and we're gonna ask Mr. Britton when she's back and the PUC to tell us a little bit of that. I think it was just over a year or so back that they were ordered by the PUC. GT&T was ordered by the PUC to ensure that that they bring certain number of landlines every year, that so many landlines are being introduced. And so you also would have to deal with the issues of complaints. When you make a complaint to a particular utility company, how is it being dealt with? How long should they take to deal with those problems? If you have a loss of service, how should it be dealt with by the utility company, by GT&T, by GWI, by GPL? So these are the issues, because many times over this program here, many people would have been complaining, I lost service on the line, I lost service on the line, on my telephone line, and I'm not saying GT&T is making any attempts to come, and weeks would have passed. But I've been waiting 2 months. I've been making a complaint. When I call GT&T, nobody's answering there. So obviously, people want to know what kind of services is GT&T and GWI and GPL and the rest of them are offering. And I know that the PUC, Public Utilities Commission, as the regulator, they would have been holding public hearings to ensure that the people of Guyana are made aware in a very public manner. These things are not behind closed doors as to how these companies operate, and some of the benchmarks are being set because these things are according to the regulations. So I think I would have spoken there in layman's language to bring you the language which you should know. And she is a lawyer, and she is she would speak very strictly according to what the regulations say. I'm going to hand you over right now on Kaieteur Radio on the Wake Up Guyana show to Ms. Dila Britton, and she is a chairperson of the Public Utilities Commission. Ms. Dila Britton, over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gildarie, and good afternoon to all your listeners, and thank you for having us. I have been on your program a number of times, and it has been beneficial, a dual beneficial exercise, both to ourselves as part of our public relations exercises, and to you, so you can disseminate this information to your listeners. In short, Public Utilities Commission is a statutory regulatory body. It's an independent body. It is a body that was created on the 1st of October 1990. We're about to celebrate our 30th anniversary in a matter of weeks, and you will be hearing from us again, Mr. Gildarie, in that regard. But the Public Utilities Commission is what is known as a multi-sector regulator. That means that we are responsible, and we have within our purview the responsibility of GPL, GWI, GT&T, and Digicel. It means that we are not a one or a unisector regulator. And being responsible for those entities mean that we are obliged and we are empowered to investigate. We're empowered to enforce our orders that we might have directed the utilities to perform within the confines of those orders. We are also responsible for investigating the operations of the companies. We are also, Mr. Gildarie, and this is important to your listeners, we are also responsible for the quality of service, monitoring the quality of service of each of those entities. And lastly, we are the rate setters. We are the tariff setters. We set the necessary tariffs that you might enjoy or you might feel constricted by. And all of this is done based on a balancing test. We don't just do this. We don't just make the orders as it relates to rates in a vacuum. We would look and balance the interests of the consumers against that of the financial viability and needs of the various entities. I hope that in a nutshell answers your first question.
Absolutely, good. So let me get in before I ask Ms. Bourne, because maybe you could direct them as to what their expertise is as we go forward. But I have a couple questions based on what our people, and I think let's take this particular format. I'm going to ask you. People have been complaining that they're not getting onto these companies, but even when they get on, they're being pushed. Like if you call GT&T, you're being shunted from one area to the next area. Then they give you a number, a reference number, and then sometimes old people and so they might misplace it when you call back. Do you have your reference number and so on? And so they have a very hard time. So I want to ask you if. Do I have a right if I see that I've been pushed around for a little while, whether I have a right to come to the PUC to make a complaint?
I will take the initial stab at that. Yes, you do. Yes, you do, because the statutory obligations and the what we call regulations that were later placed on the now existing 1999 bit of legislation obligates us to investigate and to sort of put a signal and a signature to your right to approach the commission. So you can always approach the commission. And if you allow me, Mr. Gildarie, before I pass it over to our dynamic complaints manager, if you allow me, all our services are free. I would like to emphasize that, that if you can get that out to your listeners, all our services are free. So you always have a right to come to us, of course, because it is a statutory body. It's of course because it's an established entity. There are certain rules and regulations, and that is one of the regulations I was speaking to, that we are required by law to look into your complaints. And I'm glad that you mentioned the issue of reference number, because that is the usual starting point. Before Ms. Bourne comes on, lastly, I'd like to just also emphasize that as much as we are required to have you bring your reference number to us, we are willing to meet with you without your reference number to a certain extent. And we might have to volley it back to the utility for you to get that necessary reference number, because as you would appreciate, we would need to follow a sequence and to be in tandem with their records of your complaint.
I thank you very much for
the utilities.
Thank you very much for that. And of course, straight over to Ms. Destra Bourne, as a complaints manager, what exactly it is that you do there? I'm the layman here. You have to unmute your mic, Destra.
Yes.
Yes.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to all your viewers. Thank you. As the complaints manager for the Public Utilities Commission, I am in charge of basically managing the complaints division of the PUC. We have currently 4 offices in Georgetown, New Garden Street, Essequibo, Linden, and in Port Morant, Berbice. What we do is when consumers come to us with their complaints that they would have against the utility company, we work together with the consumers and the utility company to get to have these matters resolved.
Okay, thank you very much. And I think a lot of people might not, because based on the complaints that we would have had, people might not know the numbers that maybe, what are some of the various ways that somebody can make a complaint? I know there are numbers, but they call it like the 226-74. They complain, they can't get through to that.
Okay, to contact our Georgetown office, consumers can call 226-7042 or 227-2182. That's 226-7042 or 227-2182. To contact our Berbice office, which is located in Port Morant, it's 336-6077 or 336-6192. I'll repeat those numbers for our Berbice office, 336-6077 or 336-6192. Our Linden office, which is located in Mackenzie, Linden, the numbers are 444-2045 or 444-2046. And our Essequibo office, 624-6000. 624-6000 to contact our Essequibo office. Persons can also contact us to file their complaints via our website at www.pucguyana.com, or they can email us at complaints@pucguyana.com. We also facilitate persons just dropping in their complaints to our mailbox, because currently, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we're not physically interfacing with the public, but persons can uplift a complaints form from the security at our office. They can then fill those forms and drop it into our mailbox, and we will contact them and further action those complaints.
Mr. Gildarie, if I may interject.
Sure. Go ahead, Madam Chair.
in addition to those complaint forms being left at our guard hut, I would like your viewers to know that they should not be daunted by that. We will also, and we can also provide the person who wishes to uplift a physical form with a specimen as to how those forms should be completed.
Mm-hmm.
And so even if you might think that the fields to complete might seem a little daunting, you can just look at the specimen that we can provide as a guide to completing the actual form.
Thank you very much for that. Now, I have a cell phone, I have internet on it, I have WhatsApp and so on and so forth. I listen to some of the contact information that you give me there. It's easy for me to snap a picture of a bill or something and write up something and send it to you. Do I happen to have the means, or are you moving in that direction now? I'm talking about a WhatsApp medium or maybe a Facebook medium.
Of course, if we're provided with a WhatsApp number, we can also contact persons via WhatsApp. If you call us and you said, look, I don't have access to the email, but I have access to WhatsApp, we will work with you in order to assist you in having your matter resolved. So once you call and said, I don't have access to email, or I don't have a telephone number, but here's my WhatsApp number, we will work with you via that means.
And let me ask another question. This putting you in a spot now, but I'm glad that you guys are here. A lot of persons from time to time, old folks, senior citizens, barely got money to eat, and especially this pandemic has been very difficult for them. What about if they call you and says, look, Madam Chair or Desra, I don't have any credit in my phone. Could you assist me? Would PUC be able to bend over backwards and assist them like that? Is it a service that they offer?
Assist them how, Mr. Gildarie?
By maybe calling them. Most of these people call you, say, look, I out the credit, Gildarie.
Yes.
Could you call me back? And most times I end up calling because these are old people. I don't know what is it that they're suffering, but I do that. And so I'm asking the PUC, could they do that?
Absolutely, absolutely. That is one of our, that is one of our internal measures. Once we have you on a cell phone, we will call you back. And of course, if those sort of situations, we certainly will.
Yes, thank you very much for that. So if you're now joining us, this is the Wake Up Guyana show. We have the senior officials here of the Public Utilities Commission talking about how you could file some of those complaints. And there are 4 offices in Guyana, in Linden, and we're going to give you back those numbers a little later, in Berbice, Port Morant, and we have it in Essequibo. Where in Essequibo do we have this office?
In Henrietta.
Henrietta.
We're
Yes.
right in the Bees Mall in Henrietta.
Right, the Bees Mall in Henrietta. And we also in Georgetown in Queenstown there. So we're going to come back and we're going to tell you a little about that. But in the meantime, there is the option that you could probably, tell them that you have a WhatsApp. They may contact back with you. PUC has been bending over backwards, according to what they're saying, to ensure that they bring the service, and they have gone to several regions in which to do that, to bring the services to the people. So we also have with us here today Mr. Nikita Samwaru. Nikita, how are you doing today, sir? And what is it that you have to offer or tell us today?
Good afternoon, Mr. Gildarie and Team PUC and your viewers. I'm the engineer of the commission. Normally, I would advise the commission on technical matters relating to the utilities. Further to that, I will assist the complaints department with technical complaints that are normally filed with the commission.
Okay, very good.
For example, I can give you a simple example. I use GPL.
Go ahead. Could you give us
let me use a simple example. You guys are hearing me? I'm getting you guys break up.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Let me give you a simple example. A complaint might coming from a consumer regarding GPL. Let's say it's a TAM matter. When the complaint went through the process, through the complaints division via utilities and all information is covered of supporting evidence and so on. It's going to be forwarded to the engineering division, which is headed by myself here. I will review the complaint matter and analysis and make a decision whether the matter should be resolved or the consumer be paying, or utility, whatever it is. That's basically some of the things that I normally do by engineering division.
So I thank you very much for that, Nikita. And I know that you guys have indicated us half an hour that you're going to be here today. But I want to ask.
I'm not getting you clear, Mr. Gildarie.
I think there's something in your end there. I'm not sure if it's the internet. Our internet is clear here. I'm not seeing any kind of thing. Are you hearing us clearly now?
I'm getting terrible breakup. I'm getting a signal.
I'm not sure. Are you hearing us, Desra? Are you hearing us clear?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
So it got to be from his end. But I want to ask you, Desra and Madam Chair, if it is a possibility, people have been asking if maybe they could call in from time to time. And you guys, maybe not today, but in another day, we are going to make the Kaieteur radio available, the Wake Up Guyana show. And maybe we could do it once a week, that you come in and like how we're doing it here. And the people would probably call in and maybe raise some of the issues. Because, you know, people from time to time, they would want to have that direct contact. Maybe, and they could ask questions as to what they could do. If there's a possibility that PUC could probably be willing to accommodate us in that sense.
Thank you, Mr. Gildarie, and thank you very much for your offer. We're willing to do that, but I would like to issue a proviso where that is concerned. As much as we can answer general questions, all the complaints that we receive are confidential. So we will not be able to ventilate fully any issue from reference number straight to completion via the phone call. So there's no magic bullet. You still have to file the actual complaint. You still have to come into us. We still have to contact the utilities. We still have to advocate on your behalf. Otherwise than that, yes, we are willing to do that because it certainly helps with our outreach exercises.
I thank you very much. I think there's a lot of clarity here that has come out here from this engagement here today. As always, it's been a pleasure. I want to ask, and this is Gildarie asking now, ever so often I would quarrel with especially GT&T. And as a citizen of Guyana, as a consumer, if I want to file a complaint about the quality, what GT&T has been offering, and maybe let them come out and even go so far as to maybe hold a public hearing to let them tell us about that. Could you maybe tell me what are some of my rights as a consumer, some of the things that I could do with regards to these companies? Let's start with GT&T.
Let's start with which one?
GT&T, my
GT&T.
favorite one.
Your favorite one. I don't know why that's your favorite one. We have no favorites amongst our utilities. What are your rights at the time of the hearing, or what are your rights?
Could I, as a consumer, I am very unhappy when GT&T came and installed my DSL, and I'm going to give you a specific instance. The speed was really nice. When they told me about 10 megs and so on, I was excited, and I went and I signed up. I think a couple years later, when I look at the quality of service that I'm getting, it is crappy. And so I want to know whether I've seen so many and heard so many persons complaining about the quality of services and the quality of the reaction time of GT&T to respond to some of the complaints. And I say it's about time for me to maybe request as a citizen, as maybe I could make a request for the PUC to entertain a suggestion or a request from me for a public hearing, or maybe to have a complaint against it. What are some of the likely outcomes of that?
Mr. Gildarie, I don't want to usurp your position as our moderator, but I'm going to ask Ms. Bourne to start, and then when she gets to my point, then I will take over, because we each have a role in that whole exercise. So I'm going to ask Ms. Bourne to start, and then I will come in and tell you what the commission, because please understand that as much as it's called the Public Utilities Commission, it's the commission and the staff of the Public Utilities Commission, which makes up the PUC. And so the commission is really and truly 4 people plus the secretary to the commission. Okay, so I want you to get that distinction. So it's it's loosely called the Public Utilities Commission. So I'm going to ask Ms. Bourne to start you off, and then I will come in.
Thank you. Ms. Bourne?
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your question, Mr. Gildarie. Well, firstly, you have an issue, and the suggestions you give is against GTT. Well, firstly, as a consumer, you would have contacted the company and let the company know that the issues that you're having, and you're not satisfied with the response. So not satisfying, you came to the PUC. We have to go through a process where we will file your complaint with us formally. We would have now hear your side of the story. We have to listen to the utility side of the story. Based on the information that we would have received from the utility, that's when we would make our decision. If the information coming from the utility, we are not, let's say, in favor of that decision, then there are other steps which we will take in terms of communicating with the utility. And as I said, if that complaint is getting nowhere, that's when we will bring that complaint to our chair, who will then make the decision on moving forward on whether this complaint should now be taken to a hearing. So we have to go through that first process, and then based on the information before us, then we will move up to consider whether we will have a hearing. And I'll now hand you back to the chair, who will explain to you the process beyond there.
Thank you very much,
Destra. To add one thing that Destra has said, your complaint can't be stale, and stale meaning that it is older than 6 months. So if you had the issue and you discovered the issue with your slow DSL in January, that complaint would have the life of the possible execution of a complaint to a hearing or to even a common garden variety complaint would have expired in June, because the 6 months period would have elapsed. Right. Apologies for the ringing phone, I will ignore it. And so when you have a complaint like of that nature, as Ms. Bourne said, it comes to us, the commission, and we will look at it. We will determine whether it is the sort of issue that might have been determined by GT&T in the past that would require a different sort of advocacy to get to a favorable conclusion for both yourself and for the company. If we are deadlocked at the level of the commission as to resolving it with the utility company, calling them for a meeting, probably advocating via letter, etc., the commission will decide. And we have our own internal ways of deciding that it has enough merit to bring that complaint to and escalate it to a hearing. And in doing so, Mr. Gildarie, we will then again, because of course we are a quasi-judicial body, and we have to also be mindful of the tenets of due process, giving everybody an opportunity to be heard, etc. And that's where your rights come in. We will then inform GT&T that Gildarie would like to bring a hearing, a public hearing on this grievance. When that is done, GT&T, again, because of this whole issue of due process, is allowed to make their submissions. And then we will enter into a hearing. We picked the 10th of September. We decided that the 10th of September we'll have a hearing. And your rights and that of the rest of the citizenry it will include your opportunity to directly address your issues with the utility company. And the citizens will be allowed to also address those issues. After that is done, of course, the commission then goes back and deliberates. And again, at all times, all through the whole process, we're doing that balancing act that I spoke about at the beginning of our discussion this afternoon.
I do thank you for that. And let's say, for the sake of argument's sake, and we reach, let's say that such a scenario exists, and we reach a point where there's a public hearing. Gildarie is not so very eloquent, and I'm not so bright, and I can't, get over myself to the public hearings to the persons there. Could I nominate an attorney or anybody to represent me, or would the PUC be able to give me representation at some point, or I would have to find that person?
You can certainly bring your attorney at all times. You can bring your attorney, because a public hearing of that nature, and we've had those in the past, some of them that you need to take evidence, and you would want to take evidence. As you know, Mr. Gildarie, you've been a journalist for a number of years, and you've been to hundreds of court trials. As you know, you take an oath, and then you are sworn in, and you are asked to develop your story. Of course, you want your lawyer to be there. Of course, you will want to have that sort of representation. I am also, because we make our own rules, our own internal rules, in keeping with the laws of evidence as prescribed by Parliament, we can also allow you to have somebody who is articulate enough to represent you in that regard. Also, and I'm glad you brought this up, because suppose it is Gildarie and all the street you live on, First Street in X neighborhood. If it were you and 6 other people who would have experienced similar different difficulties with GT&T, the legislation makes provision for a class action, a class complaint that could be made.
I do thank you. I think you're very, very clear there, Ms. Dila Britton, and she is no other than the chair of the Public Utilities Commission. And so we are coming down, because you did say half an hour, and I think we did take our liberties here a little, but it was so interesting. But just one other question before I give you the opportunity to have your closing remarks. And of course, thank you very much, Zia, to the rest of the commission representatives. Somebody is asking why the 6 months in terms of the life of a complaint, the life of a complaint. Why 6 months? Why not a year at least or so?
Well, I was not the framer of those regulations as to 6 months, but I would imagine that the intent in that sort of regulation would have been that it was hopeful that there would be some amelioration of the complaint or the difficulty within that time between consumer and utility. Or it might have been, and again, I can't sit for the framers, it might have been as a result of the technology, and also at the time when that 6-month rule came into effect, it was prior to our 2017 order, which speaks to the time, 2017 order for GT&T, by the way, which speaks to the time to remedy fault reports. So there might have been a longer time for that. And also it gives the commission and the simple answer, without sitting in the armchair of the people who would have created this 6-month rule. The simple answer could well be that it might have been a process of 6 months for the utilities at the time. They might have made representation to PUC that, look, this might take 6 months given the volume we have. So there might be a number of factors that might have led to that 6 months. And you ought not on both sides want to have a complaint languishing for a year, Mr. Gildarie, because you have it languishing. As I said, the technology might change, the fixing technology might change, the machinery that you have at home or the equipment you might have at home might become obsolete. Nikita can speak to that more than I can. And also, if we have a complaint, if we have complaints over a year, we run the risk of the records being old, and that you would have, you might not have had your service, and that is one of your rights. That if you're an account holder you're entitled to certain services from the utility. So you don't want anything but a 6-month period. If you may allow me, the 6-month period is not written in stone. So if it's the 12th of July, especially now in this height of the COVID pandemic, the 6-month period might have to be waived, but of course you can't have it for 16 years before you bring it. That would be a little unreasonable. So the commission will look at that to determine.
Well, I do thank you for that. And let me tell you this, how happy I am. There was a time when you look at the PUC and it was all very straight and you were very much afraid. The PUC was not very engaged, and I'm very happy to see that the PUC is very engaged in at the moment. I must tell you that. And it's so good that we could be in this little informal little room and which we could share with the people of Guyana that you actually have a forum in which you could complain about these companies and how long they're looking at you. And I know that they're trying there, but we got to bring the bar. We have to raise the bar in a very, very quick way. And so as we come down to the closing, Madam Chair, I want to give you each an opportunity, starting with Nikita, then Ms. Bourne, and then, of course, back to the Madam Chair in closing, because, of course, I'd want you guys to come back. And maybe we could do call-ins in the future, make it a regular thing. We want to hear from our regulators, and that is the intention, that, people would have an idea as part of the education awareness process. So over to you, Nikita, and then to Ms. Bourne.
Thank you, Mr. Gildarie. Even though most of the talk is about complaints, the commission could also give consumers technical advice. You could call into the commission and ask some advice. I want to purchase a new refrigerator. Can you give me advice? What should I look for? What type of refrigerator? What type of appliance I should buy? And any other advice on types of phones, whatever it is, any technical advice, your wiring in your home, any single technical advice, you could always call into the mission. Simply, like if G comes to your home, okay, they're conducting the investigation, they have found the fault, whatever, but then they leave a form. You could call into the mission. G came, they've investigated the first accident, they leave a fortune where they find read out and everything is okay. It's simple advice. You could just call in commission. It doesn't have to be exactly a complaint of any other nature. So just call to the commission advice you could. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Bourne.
Thank you, Mr. Gildarie. I want to allude to what Nikita would have just said, to contact the PUC, the commission. Many times consumers have issues and they tend to wait a very long time before they come to us with those issues. When they come to us, sometimes documents are missing, sometimes they don't remember the details of the fully of the complaint. All they know is that this is the outcome I would want from the issue. Just to ensure that if you have an issue, even though your issue may be ongoing with the utility and you're not satisfied with the process of having that matter resolved, you do not need to sit down for 6 months before you come to the utility. Our chair just alluded to the 6-month period. Don't let your complaint be beyond 6 months before you file with the commission. If you're not satisfied with that resolution process, you can also come to the commission. Give the utility the time frame that they would have assigned to have your matter rectified. You're not satisfied, come to us. You're unsure of certain issues, you can pick up your phone, you can call us. We have our officers here who can give you advice on any issue that you are having.
Yes, I do. Thank you for that. Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, sir. Again, I don't want to usurp your position, and I don't want to steal Ms. Bourne's thunder, but I would like if you can perhaps ask her about the complaints that we have received, especially during COVID, because I'd like your listeners to know that we remain open. Since April, we are open. So those numbers she would have given to you, those numbers are active numbers. We might be social distancing and rotating, etc., but those numbers are answered by one of our members of our hardworking team. So if you can give her a moment to speak to the complaints that we would have received, especially via our online services, during this shutdown period, and then I will close, with your permission, Mr. Gildarie. I know I give you
No,
trouble
no,
every time.
no. Thank you. It's always good, and I like how you do this in such a diplomatic way. But over to you, Ms. Bourne.
Thank you, Mr. Gildarie. Thank you, Ms. Britton. Of course, we have been working, we would say work from home, because we haven't been working physically from our office since April. And during that period, we have received approximately 155 complaints from consumers out there. And we have been working.
How much? How many?
155 complaints from April of 2020 to the ending of August of 2020. We have resolved 69 of those complaints, and we are currently working to have the remainder resolved. For this year, we have received 303 complaints. We've resolved 178 of those complaints, and we have caused approximately 38 million to be credited to consumers' account. So we are working despite COVID, we are working from home, we are still working assiduously to have these matters resolved. And I have spoken of the methods in which consumers can contact us, and we will try to work in the best way to meet with each consumers in order to have those matters resolved.
I thank you for that. And if there's a bit of clarification there, or
yes.
rather, if I could ask you, what are some of the biggest complaints? From which utility companies are you guys getting that from?
So we have.
And what are some of, and maybe my apologies, and maybe if you could tell us a little, some of the kind of complaints that you're getting.
All right. We have received complaints from all of the regulated utility, GPL, GTT, GWI, and Digicel. We have received, well, during the period that we're working from home, we have received 24 complaints against GPL, and these include billing issues, technical issues, and also tampering issues. From GTT, we have received 112 complaints. The majority of these complaints are of technical issues. We also have complaints as it relates to the application for service and a handful of billing issues. GWI, we've also received complaints as it relates to the application of service and of technical issues. And for Digicel, we have only received one technical issue during the period we have been working from home.
Thank you very much for that. And Madam Chair, over to you in your closing remarks.
Thank you very much. With respect to the complaints resolved, as alluded to by Ms. Bourne, please understand that we probably could have resolved a lot more of those complaints had we not had the COVID situation, because the technicians from GPL and GT&T and GWI are not coming to homes. So some of those complaints have to be of necessity in abeyance until we get that permission to enter into homes. Mr. Gildarie, I want to again say that our services are free. I would like to publicly thank the members of staff who work tirelessly to make sure that we have kept working. And you have two superstars with us today, but everybody, all 23 staff members are equal superstars to me and to the commission. And I would like to say that as much as we talk about complaints, Mr. Gildarie, complaints are not the hub and spoke of what we do at PUC. PUC is trying to fashion itself as a think tank. We are hoping in the near future to open our Office of Economic Research. We continue to partner with our regional and international regulators who have lent us tremendous support in technical matters that the public would probably not be privy to right away. We have a number of measures that we would like to do, and we continue to work with our utilities. We continue to partner with our utilities. If you look at our Facebook page, PUC, Public Utilities Commission, you will see that we work with them to make sure that we post their notices, and we are garnering quite a wide group of people on our space. So this is not only a PUC initiative. This is a utility-wide and PUC initiative to make sure that we educate the consumers. And in closing, if you'd like to have us over again, we are happy to come, and thank you very much. I know sometimes I'm a little naughty with you, but I would like you to continue to keep our feet to the fire, Mr. Gildarie. Keep making sure that we are subject to criticism and constructive and otherwise. Our backs are broad, we can handle it, but with criticism, we will know what to do to improve ourselves in the future, or almost immediately.
And I do thank you for that. And as we go forward, the regulators are going to play a very big role. And I know going forward too, I saw that the administration has announced that they are moving towards the liberalization of the telecoms industry, which I know is going to hand you more work. But the more the merrier. But I know that you're talking about the expansion there of the services. But I want to say thank you very much there, Madam Chair, and of course to the rest of your good representatives, Nikita, Ms. Bourne, and to the rest of the good staffers of the Public Utilities Commission. It's always been a pleasure engaging with yourself. You've always been very willing to come on board at very short notice, because the people have been calling, and of course they've been complaining heavily. If I tell you that if you listen to some of the programs and what people have been complaining about, the utilities company is one top in the list. And so in addition to NIS is another one. But unfortunately rather, I would have loved for you to be the regulator there, but unfortunately it is not. But I do thank you, and you guys have a wonderful rest of the day. We'll continue to engage to bring you back on the show, because then is when we're going to have it open and people are going to put it directly. People are going to be able to call, and we're going to have an interactive session. And so we're going to keep talking about that, and we take it to the next step. Don't bother, it's not hard. It's very, very simple. You just listen to the people. People want somebody to talk to. So we're going to be back, maybe as early as next week, hopefully. I know that you guys are busy, but it's just maybe an hour. So let's see how that goes.
Before we close, Mr. Gildarie, we have a public hearing on the 17th of September into the operating standards of performance of GPL. And we are going to, I think that we're going to have that via Zoom. And I believe it's now in the print media. And we, of course, will be posting it on our website and Facebook page, so you can get the necessary credentials for that.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and Nikita, and of course, Ms. Bourne. Have a pleasant rest of the day, and until we back again. And so you guys, thank you very much. And it has been very informative. Good.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. So in the meantime, while we say goodbye to our representatives, our good representatives of the Public Utilities Commission, we are going to be joined very, very shortly by our Berbice reporter there, Melissa Plater-Harry, to give us an update as to that very worrying situation. I'm seeing some images that is coming out, very bloody images and so on. I hope that they are indeed not so, that these are not true what we're hearing, but we've seen photographs, images of trucks being burnt. We've seen photographs of a Bakewell truck that was damaged. We've seen photographs of other vehicles being damaged, and we're hearing reports of robberies and so on. And the authorities, several members of the joint services in that Berbice area there. So if you've now joined us, this is the Wake Up Guyana show. We're coming to you live on 99.1, 99.5, right across Guyana here. And of course, you could get us on Kaieteur Radio and on Facebook, or Kaieteur Radio live stream on YouTube. And so we're going to ask our guys to get right into making contact with our reporter right now, Melissa Plater-Harry, so we could get her on air. And then, of course, we're going to have an update, a live update as to what is happening down in Berbice, both sides, the East Berbice and the West Berbice area, that was sparked by this very shocking killing of two teens over the weekend, and we are going to continue to bring you those details. So in the meantime, while we're making contact there, our boys in the studio making contact there with our reporter Berbice, we are going to ask of. I'm going to bring you. Let me see what our boys are saying here. Good afternoon, Leonard. How are you? I heard that you could bring back a car that you own in the US. I got a 2008 Toyota Tundra. So correct me if I heard misinformation. I could ship my 12-year-old vehicle home. Thanks.
Hello?
I understand that. Ah, yes. How you doing, my dear? Melissa
I'm
Plater
doing
Harry.
good.
Yes. Thank you, my dear, for joining us. I know that you're very busy up there. So it's our Berbice reporter, Melissa Plater Harry. She is in on the Wake Up Guyana show. Melissa, I've been hearing some worrying reports. I've been seeing some worrying images. What is the situation that is going on first in Region 5, and let's go to Region 6? And what would have sparked all of this? Let us bring our people on board right now.
Thank you for having me, Gildarie. Presently in Region 5, there are protest actions going on in several villages. I'm told that there are people out on the road with blockades at Burma. Then we have Paradise, number 5 village, Bushlot, and number 28 village. These persons are out there bringing whatever they could find to block the roads. They're burning tires. They're burning debris on the road. They're attacking people, I was told. We've had several reports of persons being attacked. I spoke to a few of them already. They told me that their vehicles were attacked because and they were of a particular race. If they see that the vehicle indicates that it belongs to a particular race, then they attack the vehicle. They're pulling the people out from the vehicles, robbing them. I know of one case, someone was walking and he was stripped naked. His bag was taken, his wallet, everything. He had to run to someone's home where he was rescued. And he suffered several injuries.
I did see some, and this is you're talking here in the West Berbice area?
This is West Berbice. The one where the man was stripped naked, that's at Burma.
Okay. And now I understand some rice mill workers were stripped also or robbed.
Yes, some rice mill. Those are truck drivers. They're driving these trucks, the paddy trucks.
Yes.
They stopped the vehicles, told the truck drivers to park the vehicle across the road. They're telling them to follow their instructions. So they parked the vehicles across the road, told them to empty the paddy from the truck. And then when they've already emptied it, they set it on fire. I know at least 3 trucks.
What is set on fire? The paddy or the truck?
The truck. 3 trucks were burned.
The truck. And this is in which area?
This is at Hopetown.
At Hopetown there. Is the situation under control? I saw several jeep loads of joint services people. Is it under control or is it still happening?
I wouldn't say it is under control because people are reporting that these acts are being done in the presence of the police and the police are not stopping the people. So people are a bit frustrated as to how they're dealing with the situation. They believe that the police are allowing it to escalate too much. So they're really looking for some sort of intervention because the people are really frustrated. In Region 6, we had some...
Well, let me ask... Right. Yeah, let's go to Region 6. What is happening there right now? Region 6, that's over the river in Berbice.
That's where I am presently. Region 6 is presently, it's quiet.
Right. What is happening?
The road this morning at number 1.
So there was a block-in?
Yes, they blocked the road at number one village quarantine. They had a blockade there, so but they were able to close that. Yes, they were protesting for justice for a guy that was murdered on the Alvin Public Road on Saturday night. His name is Orlando Jonas. They're claiming that they want justice for him. However, there are two persons in custody presently for that murder, and they're
So
expected to be charged.
do we have so we have two separate incidents, a number of protests on both sides of the river in Berbice, East Berbice and West Berbice.
That's right.
Has this matter gone beyond just people asking for justice? Has it evolved into something else? Do we have that impression?
It seems that way. From all indications, that is how it's appearing. It moves from I need justice for the Henry boys or I need justice for Jonas. It seems like the climate, the racial climate, it's hostile. It's hostile. And then
You
you
as a
add,
reporter, were you of in Region 5? You as a reporter, and you're Indian.
yeah.
What did you see? What did you hear?
Personally, there were persons showing racial slurs towards me, towards other reporters. They refused to speak. They showed this disdain when they saw you. If you introduced yourself, you're from Kaieteur News, or if you're from another media house, they wouldn't want to speak. So the situation was pretty hostile. So we chose not to be there at this point. It's the same thing here at number one. It happened this morning as well. They really did not want to speak to the media. But the police managed to get number one under control. I know the road is cleared. They had assistance from the soldiers. They came down this morning. And so
Is there a lot? Is there a
managed.
lot of the joint? So is there a lot of the members of the joint services in the Region 5 area right now? I
Yes.
saw some bulldozers and things like that.
Yes. They've sought the help from persons, I think the regional administration, or persons who would want to assist businessmen with their machinery to help clear the roads.
So as of now, nothing is going, nothing is coming. Do we have any idea if people are stranded on both sides?
We have people stranded from Region 6 since last night in Region 5. They've been stuck between two sets of protests.
So you mean in between?
In between. And we were told that
And so are they being hard? Are they
we were told that while joint services attempted to clear the path so that vehicles can pass, some people expressed concern that the soldiers, the police, they were driving too fast. So they were guiding these vehicles to clear the way, but they were driving too fast. So at one point, some vehicles got past the blockade, and as soon as the protesters noticed that the police were gone, they blocked back the road, and some people were caught in the middle. And
wow.
They were.
Are we any closer? Are we any closer, Melissa, to having this investigation as to what might have or the culprits or perpetrators, the murderers, be brought to justice? Have the police said they made any breakthrough?
At this point, Gildarie, the crime chief has confirmed that they've arrested two other persons. Those two persons, we were told, are coconut vendors. We're not sure in what capacity they were arrested, but they're continuing their investigation. They seem to be getting closer.
They seem to be getting closer. That's what your sources are saying.
Yes.
So, is there anything else that you would want to tell the people of Guyana with regards to that Berbice thing? So, this is it your impression, Melissa, that this is not over yet today?
No, I don't think it's over. I do believe it may be over until these people see that someone is charged. And I'm also thinking that they want to see a particular person to be charged or a particular group of people to be charged, but we have to allow the investigators to do their jobs. We don't know what angle this investigation could take. So I think
I saw some video of the police meeting with residents, telling them, give us
Yes.
time, that we need to gather evidence. Are you aware of that? Have you seen anything like that?
I've not seen, but I've heard that the police would have met with some persons. I know that they've met with relatives of these boys to assure them that they're intensifying their investigation.
And what about the political elements? Do we have a lot of political elements? Is there any evidence that there are political elements, there are non-political elements, who are goading these people on, encouraging them to do what they're doing?
Well, Gildarie, yesterday, the former head of state, Mr. Granger, David Granger, he paid a visit to the relatives of the Henry boys along with Mr. Harmon and Miss Henry. But he was talking to the mother of one of these boys, and he would have said that he's in support of what the protesters are doing in response to the brutal killing of these boys. I believe at this point in time, it's tense, and to be saying something like that, for me, it's giving the people ammunition on how to go ahead in seeking justice.
Mm-hmm. All right, Melissa, thank you very much, and it's been a pleasure. And as this situation develops, of course, we may want to get back to you. But in the meantime, thank you very much. Stay safe, and let us see those reports coming in. I think let's leave the police. And so until then, Melissa Plater, Harry, our reporter down in the Berbice there. So in the meantime, while we say goodbye to Melissa, we're going to go back to some of the budget measures. As you know, tomorrow is where the budget is going to be announced or read out, presented in the National Assembly, and the National Assembly is going to be held. It's going to be meeting because of COVID-19 on the very lots of precautions here at the Artichon Convention Center. And in the meantime, the president of Guyana, Dr. Finale, and the vice president, Bar Jagdi, would have announced some of the measures that would be in this budget. And we did start at the beginning of this program to read some of what is expected. And I'm going to read it back to you guys. It's about 45 measures in all, including the removal of VAT on education, the removal of VAT on electricity and water for pensioners, for all, in fact, and for some subsidies for school children, and so on. So bear with me. Let me just go through the 45 very, very quickly, as quickly as possible. So we have the reversal of VAT on water and electricity, reversal on VAT on duties and machineries, VAT and duties and on machineries and equipment to allow for recapitalization, the granting of tax concessions on ATVs for mining, agriculture, and manufacturing, also forestry. Reversal of land lease increases back to the rate it was in 2014. So they have removal of VAT on fertilizers, agrochemicals, pesticides, and key inputs in the poultry industry. Reversal of VAT on exports. So anything that we export in, they're going to put the no VAT on that. Removal of VAT on hinterland travel, medical supplies, on building and construction materials. I like this. Zero rated VAT on cell phones. If you're bringing in cell phone in the country, no VAT on that. Removal of corporate tax on private education. Removal of corporate tax on private health care. Mortgage interest relief. Interest incurred on housing loan up to 30 million to be deductible from income tax. This is good. It means that our cost of housing is going to go down a little. Increase limit for income tax loan for corporate tax release within the banking sector for $10 million. Any license that was increased or renewed after 4th of October 2020 will be reduced by 50%. So this is good. Change log export policy to allow sawmillers to export logs. Increase production and taxes. So there's some help there for the forestry people. We saw the reversal of policy to allow for the importation of used tires. Well, a lot of people were complaining about this. A lot of people for and against it. So this is going to be a contentious one. Because people says, people were starting to buy these new tires, and it was they believe that it would have allowed for the safety as well as a little protection for the environment, because tires is something that does not degrade just like that. So they're allowing to have hot vehicles over 8 years to be allowed to be imported. The reversal of policy to allow the importations of vehicles. So this is a big news that people were asking for, and they got it. So any vehicles that's over 8 years, they're going to allow them to come in back into the country. You know, there was a ban or a restriction on that. Effective 1st of January 2020, $15,000 cash grant for school children. So every school child, I understand, is going to receive $15,000. This is the cash grant. The school uniform voucher is going to double to $4,000 per child. So if you have 4 children, that's $16,000. Right off the bat, you're going to have $15,000 each as a cash grant. Effective 1st of January 2020, $25,000 for pensioners, and there's a $4.5 billion that the state is going to just put aside for the pensioners. So you would be, I've been receiving about 21,000 something. It's gone to 25,000. It's a start. Let's see what happens. $800 million for the Amerindian Development Fund, the reintroduction of the CSO program. You could recall that the People's Progressive Party Civic claimed that over 2,000, about 2,000 of the CSO workers, Amerindian workers, fired in 2015 when the coalition government came on. $5 billion budget for Gaisuko, budget support for Gaisuko, some Gaisuko controversial as well. A couple people saying, why are you plugging money into this? But let us see where it goes. Gaisuko cannot allow to die. Gaisuko is big. That's what the government is saying. Free water for pensioners. So a lot of pensioners who would have been complaining that you have to pay VAT and so on, now it's free water now, that you don't have to pay for it. 2 weeks tax free bonus for the joint services, $600 million that has been put aside for that. So we have $150 million to the frontline workers in the healthcare system, $200 million to expand the Guyana Lawrence Channel. And for the hinterlands, this is the big news, $25,000 solar units for the hinterlands. They are going to remove the requirements to register and take out road license for mining equipment. So if you used to take out, you have an excavator, and you have to put a road license, and the people said no more, we're going to remove that requirement. Police clearance for minors to transport fuel in their own vehicles. So if you, you have your vehicle, you're transporting fuel, you don't need a police clearance anymore. That is what the budget is going to say. The revert of the poultry industry to the zero-rated VAT status, zero incentives, or special incentives, inclusive of land, to be made available for planting of corn and soybean to satisfy local and regional feed mill demand. This is good. I think Brazil were highly interested in corn and soybean. Let's see where this goes. Tax concessions for investment in agro processing facilities, cold storage and packaging. Support for drainage and irrigation services, investment in farm to market access road. Many persons who would have been complaining would be seeing something like this now. So we have the removal of land taxes, and drainage and irrigation charges back. Is going to be taken back to the 2014 position. Any charges after that is going to be reverted to those old charges. The land and water rates reversed to what it was at the end of 2014. We're going to have 15 new 4x4 vehicles for the Guyana Police Force, over $1.5 billion for hinterland, urban, and rural roads. A new ferry for the Northwest, upgrades for hospitals at Saudi, New Amsterdam, Leonard, West Demerara, and Diamond. $25,000 per household for COVID-19 measures. And I think they're going to come back and they're going to tell us a little how this can come in. So they said per household. So you guys are going to be very clear. It isn't one household, it's per household. Special incentives for new hotel development, liberalization of the telecoms industry, my number one thing. I've been talking about this, I've been quarreling. Multi-purpose sports complex to region 2, 6, and 10. And so this is a very good thing. Let's see what the budget is going to be announced tomorrow. And all this is going to be in the budget. So in the meantime, we have like about less than half an hour to go. And we didn't have a very long day. You would have heard what we would have read out in terms of some of the budget support as budget measures as announced by President Irfan Ali yesterday. We want to open the lines to you for just about half an hour or so, because we would have had a long day today. We had a report from Berbice. We would have had PUC officials there today. And if you're joining us, let me very quickly tell you before we go to the phone lines that you could send your text to 62222. Of course, I'm going to read you some that would have been sent to me by our boys on in the studio. Of course, you could call us on 226-7453, 226-7453. And in the meantime, PUC, the Public Utilities Commission, if you have a complaint about the GT&T, about GWI, about Guyana Water Inc., the Guyana Water Inc. and the Guyana Power and Light, you could call George Chung. It is 226-7042, 226-7042, 227-2182. That is if these companies have not been assisting you or taking a long time. This is when you call them. 226-7042 in Georgetown or 227-2182. You could also call Esquimo in the Bees Mall, they say, 624-6000. 624-6000. In Berbice, in Fort Morant area, it's 336-6192. 6192. Or 336-6077. That's in Fort Morant, is where the PUC office is. Or in Linden, Mackenzie area there, 444-2045, 2045, or 444, yes, 2045, that's what they have here. So we're going to head straight into the lines. 226-7453. Boys in the studio, do we have a caller online here? Let's talk to our people today. Good afternoon, caller in the air, if you do.
Hi, good afternoon.
Or in the good afternoon,
Yes,
sir.
Gildarie.
How are you doing? Yes, it is. You on the air. Go right ahead.
Gildarie.
Yes, you are on the air. Go right ahead, sir.
Yeah, I called to find out something, man. Let me call you back in a minute.
Go ahead, my brother. Yes, sir. Good. Yes. So in the meantime, while we are waiting, our callers to come in when the boy is ready to put them through, let's tell you what are some of the programs or what are some of the comments that we would have. Good afternoon, Leonard. I heard you could now bring back a car that you won in the US. I got in 2008 a Toyota Tundra. So correct me if I heard. I can ship my 12-year-old vehicle home. Thank you. Yes, you can. Wait till the budget passed and they put it into the regulations. This has been made possible now. Mr. Leonard, good afternoon to you and everyone. I'd like to know what does the PUC could do for the people of Esquimo Coast. GT&T phone line is not okay for 3 years now. You could get the Esquimo branches, 624-6000. They have a branch in the Bees Mall. So get on to those people there. Good afternoon, caller, you on the air? Yes, good afternoon, caller, you on the air? So in the meantime, yes.
Lost the caller, Leonard. You can go on to the messages.
Thank you very much, Josh. And so in the meantime, hello, Gildarie. I would like to know if the property have to be in the pension because my mother's a pension who live with her if she's 87. I don't think so if she could prove that she's living there. But we have to be very reasonable. In the past, the pension would be brought to the home and the pension is just stayed by the people there when they applied for no water to be paid. We got to be reasonable about this. There's a big issue that GWI was saddled with. You have a grandmother living there, but they say that they're pensioners. So we got to make sure, you don't burden the city, the GWI, and we receive so much water. It has to be reasonable. You don't expect that one person, a pensioner who's living there, who's benefiting, to be paying for what an entire family who run in a car wash. We got to be very, very reasonable with that. So I think there's going to be some criteria. If you're a pensioner and you want to benefit from these light and water-free subsidies, you have to meet those criteria. Congrats to Dr. Yog Mahadio to being appointed director of the board of Guyana Chronicle. He called it the Guyana rag, and I hope that he make it a Guyana flag. And somebody has missing the dog here. They're saying that it's stolen. The name is Mordecai. I'm not sure if it's a joke here, but let's see what happens. So I want to say good day to my dear friend Dr. Yog Mahadio. As you can recall, we did had our last show, our room 592 on Friday evening, and there was a lot of calls coming in. Many persons, thousands of persons tuned in on it, and they're so sad to see it go. But Yog has been with us, been very helpful, working at no pay at all. For us to put this, you radio myself, but would have demanded that Glenn give me some time, because after this radio show started taking off after elections, everybody was tuned in on Kaieteur radio. We decided to stick with it, and 5 months later, we're still going with it. It is where it is. So we are looking at that. But today, the news came out that Dr. Yog Mahadio is the chair of the Guyana Chronicle. And my dear friend, you have been calling the Guyana Rag. Let's see what happens. I know that you have a lot of ideas, and you are going to see some good things happening there at the Guyana Chronicle. Let's see what happens. So you and I would keep in contact, and we are hopefully we could bring Dr. Yog Mahadio from time to time here. I know that that it is going to be. We want to see our improvement. So in the meantime, it has been more than a week now. I'm hoping for this week to be ended up in a very short while. I understand that the authority says that as long you tested positive, and the 13 days or so gone, and you don't have any effects of it, you don't need to retake another test. But I'm anxious to be back in the working environment, not at home here. You restrict yourself so much that when you're at home, it is a good thing to be home watching the kids and so on. But there's different things that when you have access to office systems and so on, and you're able to get your hands on with the staff, was once decisions are going to be there. I'm feeling a little exhausted. I feel a little dry, dehydrated. Is one thing that the COVID maybe is a side effect, or maybe I'm just losing it. I'm not sure whether I'm losing it. But I want to say a good day to the boys down in the studio there. And I want to go back to the callers. Do we have any callers online there, Josh? If not, yes, good afternoon, caller, you're there.
Hi, this is
Yes, good
Leonard.
Yes, it is Leonard. You want the Kaieteur radio. You want here, go right ahead.
Hi, Leonard. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, ma'am.
I'm trying to call you. Anyway, this thing about these two boys, this thing is horrible. You can't even think about what those children were going through, because one had to see the other one being chopped and whatever they were doing with them. I could imagine how horrible it was, but it don't justify what is going on. It become political. The parents say they don't want this thing to become political, but it become political now. Two wrongs can never be a right. Instead of the police having to look for the evidence and everything to bring these, I don't even know if I call them, to justice, they got to be fighting something else. And it's wrong. These people can't see that the longer they delay the police on the roads, the longer justice can be happen for these boys. And now look what they're doing. They fight, they're beating people, they're stripping people, they're breaking people, cars. This morning I hear a family had to run out of their house. Some neighbor keep them. Some people in pig pen. When next morning the whole house ransacked, the windows break up. What is for? No, Granger and the other one went up to talk to the people. They should have talked to the supporters outside to stop it. But instead of that, they encourage it. Now we gone down, they resume to town. This thing is really ridiculous, and I don't know when it can stop. Now he go up there for telling the people, don't take any support from the PPP. This support with the PPP given is for everybody. It's Guyana money. So I can't understand. I can't understand this nonsense what they getting now with. They didn't do nothing for the people, and now they these people I can't imagine. Up to now he's still bringing up the past, but school bus and COVID, and he get angry. The PPP got all these people tested and positive. Now they had it. Nobody then wasn't being tested. So how much people walking with COVID and even know they have it? So how could you blame
let me tell you this,
somebody?
right, and that Berbice thing there, I'm not sure what is happening. This thing has gone beyond thing, and I'm not sure whether you should be beating and robbing people, and how this has evolved from just something that you're protesting for justice to now blocking the roads in several villages. The police are working, they're about to make some breakthroughs. So it is obvious that this thing is evolving to something else. That's the logical explanation.
Right. And the thing is, the more their behavior getting out like that, they're not thinking about those two mothers, fathers, and family there that is grieving. They're grieving, and every time they open or turn on the TV to see what they're getting on with on the road, people don't need to grieve like that. You don't need in their life. You're grieving, and now you are thinking about what's going on the road, and they're just rehashing it all the time. The people that did this crime in Guyana, they don't think they just hang people no more. They're not death penalty, but they should be lost away because it's a really bad thing. I mean, if the children used to go in the people's farm and thief the coconuts, catch them, carry them to the station. Don't do them like the man. It's not animals. I would like to see somebody treat a dog like that. So it's really, really
no
bad.
country in the world should tolerate any kind of behavior like that. There's no justification.
No.
Having said that, these were kids that is in the prime of their lives. And yes, I understand that there may be some frustration, people stealing from you and things like that. There's ways to deal with it, so that's not the good way, and so they have to pay the price for that. That was brutality in another level, and we're not people like that. Our people are different
level. Right? But I need for these people to come, face do the crime, face the time, and be lost away in jail. But not how these Granger encouraging the supporters to be on the road. Next thing you know, they got a couple more other people dead. What gonna happen then? Budget coming out. It's because, I don't know, in my own stupid way, I will believe that the PPP showing them up too much. But the new budget and everything, what they ain't do nothing for 5 years, so people just put on a whole set of tax and got people half starve, and the PPP is showing them up, so does the diversion. I believe it's though. That's the only thing I can come to. The only thing that I'm seeing what is happening, and it is wrong. Let the police do the work. Let the government get on to see how we could be helped. Not what they're doing, burning the roads. They ain't gonna go and fix back them roads. It's not money where they even got where they could be helping in their village. And then he gone.
I hear you, sister. So
he gone there like if he's still campaigning. He goes for support the people and are telling the people thanks for their support. What nonsense is that? I can't imagine her. He go for support.
All right, my lady. I hear you. I like your energy. So thank you very much. And you've raised some very important points here as to the whole fundamentals of this thing here, as to the whole cost. I think you've been able to analyze it. You had a long thought about it there. So I think many people would have drawn the same conclusions there too. So thank you. Where are you calling from?
Right in town.
Okay, thank you very much, my dear. All right, my lady. Thank you very much. Have a pleasant rest of the day. All right?
You too. And get well soon and get back on the studio.
Yes, I am trying to do that. I'm eating some apples here and some grapes. I got to get some liquid into the body. So it is what it is. So thank you and have a pleasant rest of the day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. So in the meantime, this is the Wake Up Guyana show. It's coming to you live on Kaieteur Radio here, 99.1, 99.5, all across Berbice. I want to say you guys up there, take heart, stay safe. Do not do anything that is going to put you in harm's way. Make sure you wear your mask. Do not go if you know there are pockets of things happening. Let the police and everybody bring it under control. It's obvious that certain people would have taken control of the situation to rob and to take advantage of people to destroy property. And this is not good enough. You need to stop doing that. Allow the police to do their work. The police have 5 people in custody, and they seem to be making some breakthrough. It is not something that is acceptable. It should not be acceptable. We want to see justice. So you guys need to stop it. Allow the police to do their job. And the police should be able to do their job to clear the road. Allow it. Because it's not, it's very dangerous for you to be blocking the road. And you have ambulance moving back and forth. You have people rice. It's going to have an impact on our rice. A whole bunch of stuff, economic activities and so on. You're taking bread out of people's mouth. I think your message is very, very clear. For 2 days you have done it. Let us say, let's move on. It's time to move on. Let's let the police do their job. So in the meantime, let's go back to some of the messages that would have been coming from the people here. Any word on the UG student loans and interest? I didn't see anything like that, whoever this is. Good morning, repent, forgive, love, and these are the keys to salvation. Amen. Love always. Amen. Shalom. Good afternoon, sir. This is Rup Narayan Ramutar. We'd like to, if you could look at our matter, we traveled 2018 flight Jamaica, got stranded, and we had to book a next flight out and do the most. I'm going to pass this message over here to our people down at the Competition Commission. This isn't Sophia, sorry, the Competition and Competitive Commission, I think it is. You should make contact with them with regards to your Fly Jamaica thing and see whether they were looking at this matter here. And so in the meantime, dear, good afternoon, Gildarie from Crabwood Creek. I'd like to inform you that my cousin from Skeleton, who's driving a truck, and about 10 other truck drivers from quarantine at Socket Region 5, they left home and in the quarantine since yesterday morning at 5 a.m. had to spend the night on the road. Up to this time, they're still on the road. Does Black Lives Matter alone? Indian lives do not matter. So these people are saying that, that it's something that they are, people have been leaving the home since yesterday and still stuck on the road. The situation is getting from bad to worse. And we have to have our authorities step in and get this issue here fixed once and for all. And then, so we go back to what our boys are saying here. This is one of the darkness that will cloud the FNLE presidency. This is demonically, historically, never before happened in Guyana, but it's not political. It's highly occultic. I'm not sure about that. I think it's what you had is a couple of people who got very angry, and this is my own opinion, but let's see, the police are investigated. And in any case, they need to be brought to justice. This is something that will not be accepted in this country here, and we should never ever accept it. We have about 10 minutes or so thereabouts. I'm going to ask our boys in the studio to get us connected once again. We need to hear from our people out in Guyana as to what they're feeling about the budget and so many issues. Go ahead, Callie, you're on the air. You're on Kaieteur Radio. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I'm here now. Well, why do the man that will block the road and protest there, man?
Well, you're asking me what you want me to do, or you're asking what the police do?
But here now,
I think the police were up there.
Yeah, but the police are not do nothing. It show like police not in this country. Look how much people think broke up, how much people think damage up. Are you there in there now? PPP there in there for power now. Are you supposed to do something with the police force?
Well, I'm not sure if I'm not in power. I'm a radio station. But what I can tell you, you're calling from which area? Which area are you calling from?
Me call from till a Blackbush.
Which area?
From Johanna, Blackbush.
Okay, and anybody affected for you? Anybody affected for you? Any truck or anything? Any truck affected for you?
No. But I just show you, all the truck come by load and so none doesn't come because I take all and throw away. The election been
oh my goodness.
Now last week them protest and do the same thing. This week are the same thing again. Every week if they go on like this, what go happen?
Right. What produce you have to throw away?
Yeah, like let us see the best what I can do. What am I do this police force? That ain't got to do.
Right. What did you have to dump? Did you have to dump anything? You said you had to dump some produce?
Yeah, me pick load, me pick okra, pepper, all me have to throw away this money. Because non-truck can't buy it and can't
About how much money you lost there?
Like okra alone, I want almost $10,000. 3 net bag okra and 100 pint pepper, that's $6,000.
Oh my goodness, and that's money, hard work, and I'm really sorry for that.
This is a crisis now I've got through here. I've been down there through a crisis here.
All right then.
No.
And this is one of the spins, the other spin-offs from.
Yeah, they have to do something because
I thank you.
Now everybody try the best to PPP they in power. So everybody go think now the last week can do the same thing. All the truck man by load last week gonna pay Abby get the losers there. Now walk na there, nothing na there, that you depend on. And now it's nothing to go sell what we
oh
go
my
do.
Goodness.
What we go do? I'll be down
Right,
there
right,
and
right,
try to
right.
say walk not there, not there. What you gonna do?
All
Something
right,
got
and
to
you
be
said
done.
Johanna.
They're supposed to get a little tear gas and dash up on the people at them that got thief coconut. And that's what them cause the whole country corrupted. The whole country.
All right.
That
All
them
right.
should
Thank
have
you
do
very
that.
much there, ma'am.
Watch them burn the by a crab creek there. Nobody in a protest like that. Watch them shoot the man and the daughter. Nobody in a protest like that. A pandit and his son get shoot. Nobody in a protest like that. Watch what about do here now. Them burn up all the man struck out. Now nobody for me, but how me feel I just for them people go feel. This really bad, really, really.
Right, right, right.
The government had to do
Yeah, yeah.
something about this.
And I see.
Yeah, there's a real
I see what you say there, and you know what? You've been able to put it in words that a lot of people, even including myself, would not have been able to put it, because now we're looking at the other side.
Yeah.
The other side of the situation, not just the blocking of the road, is the entire situation that you've hampered business, you've hampered trade, a whole bunch of stuff has happened here. All the farmers being affected and so on.
Yes, and them rob people from top too. Wasn't dumb all them people party and born among them. The people are suffer done.
Yes, that's totally wrong.
Yeah, don't different.
All right, ma'am. Thank you very much, dear.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, dear ma'am.
Yeah.
And you guys hold it there. Right. Have a pleasant rest of the day. So I want to say good day to all the folks down in Blackbush here. I'm really, really sad to hear some of the news. I know that several of you, scores of you, would be dependent on the transportation that's coming from Georgetown to take your goods down. And I'm hoping, and now we've seen another side of the story here, which we'll have to put our reporters on, because this is a major issue here. So thank you very much, dear caller. Good day to all our Berbice people, all the Essequibo people as well, and persons down in Demerara, Grove Diamond, Georgetown. How you guys doing? Stay safe. If you're in the bus park area, if you're in the market area, if you're in the minibus, if you're in the car, you guys make sure that you protect yourself. But this is, very dark times. What you would have seen happening, some people, very bloody people. You would have seen vehicles being burnt. You would have seen even paddy being burnt. Who does those kind of things? Why would you do anything like that? This is something that should not be allowed. If you're doing that, that is no longer protest. That's criminal actions. You're destroying people's property. You're robbing them. You are criminals if you do that. So I want to go back to the lines right now. Let's open our lines. Let us get our people on the line here. What's happening now? We want to hear from you. We have a couple more minutes. Do we have another caller there, Joshua? Yes, good afternoon, caller, you're on the air.
Yes, good afternoon, Leonard.
Yes, good afternoon, caller, you're on the air.
Yes,
good afternoon,
Leonard.
Sir.
I have a problem here, man.
Yes, sir.
Leonard? Yes, Leonard, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. You go right ahead, sir. Tell us the problem.
Yes, I have a problem with NIS, man. I don't know if you can help me. I am getting
yes.
I'm getting my pension through the bank, and since last December I did not get nothing from NIS. When I go to the bank, they said that NIS did not give them any money since last December. And
when you went to NIS, what NIS said?
Well, I went to NIS at Leonard branch. The supervisor said she has to contact Georgetown. I must call them a week or 2 weeks later. When I call back, they said that bank is not the bank fault; it's them fault. They find the problem, and they will start to prepare the voucher from December to September. And they said I must I must contact the bank. I contacted the bank all the time. Up to this today, I contacted them, and they did not put no money as yet. So I don't know if you can.
And so which is you'll have to afterwards call my switchboard and they're going to give you my number. You call me and I'm going to take your details and I'm going to send it to NIS. The number of the switchboard is 225-8491. 225. And they're going to give you my number. 8491.
8491. Thank you.
Yeah, call them now and then call me about 5 o'clock.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. In the meantime, this is the Wake Up Guyana show, and unfortunately, we run out of time. We run out of time so very quickly here. I'm really I wish that I could be sitting here and that we could be taking calls about NIS. We could be talking about, how it is that, what is it that we're suffering with GWI and GPL. And so here it is that we had to be talking today about the blocking of road. Every time you take one step forward, you take two steps backward, because it's very, very clear now that the criminal elements has introduced themselves into this entire situation, which should have been a protest by good citizens, into a situation which they felt that they need justice. The police have been going to them. The police have been holding press conferences. Now you're blocking roads, you're burning people's vehicles. We catch you like that, and you have to go to jail. That is very, very criminal behavior. This is something that should not be tolerated. And the people in Berbice are calling for this matter to be resolved, that the roads be cleared, because they have the goods from Berbice. It's not just the blocking of the road, people being stranded. We heard this not too long ago that our reporter Melissa Plater Harry telling us that the truck drivers being caught between two sets of roadblocks that would have been set up by criminal elements. So people are marooned there, people are left stuck there, and their vehicles are there. We saw pictures of people with blood all over the body. We saw pictures of vehicles with glasses, with all the windscreens shattered. We heard persons calling from Blackbush Polo talking there about the produce, people collecting the produce and they can't bring it back because it would have been spoiled. We heard produce being stuck in between there now, that they can't come, they can't go. People got to be dumping the produce. This is not something that is good. Why are we doing this? If it is something that's gone beyond just mere protesting for justice, it is criminal now. It is criminal. And the police has to be doing much more than what they've been doing there. The police has to take actions. The minute that you set it up, you are stopping a vehicle, maybe ambulance that's coming down from Berbice. You're causing somebody's life to be in danger. That is what it is. And so this is not something that we should accept. It has been going over and over. Every time that we go forward, you hear that we're taking a step backward, because one set of people believe that they're the only ones, a set of politicians leading the way, fooling the people, telling the people what they want to hear, and the people, being the sheep that they are, they want to be led, that they are going to go ahead and be fooled. It has gone much more beyond that. You could have your protest, you could do it in a very civil manner, you could do it in a manner that is consistent with what developing countries do, with what good people do. But then you could also have this, in which criminal elements, because it's very, very clear, it has become criminal what is happening there. And if the police is listening, if you guys are listening, this is not something anybody in this country, based on what we would have been hearing from good citizens, based on what we're hearing from the police sources, from our reporters, it is obvious that this is opportunity time, that people are taking opportunity and they're robbing people. We understand there are even unconfirmed reports of rape. I don't want to give my mouth too much liberty, but it is what it is. I did receive some text on that. And so we come down to the end time here. Let me just repeat what we would have discussed. Today, the block roads will continue in several areas. The police are trying to clear it. They did try to have some block roads in Berbice, in the number 1 village there. The police would have cleared it. In region 5 is where the problem is. Several pockets of block road. So the police pass through and they clear that area, they're going back and they put it back. They're lighting fires, they're lighting vehicles of fires. Several rice truck, I think at least 2 or 3 rice truck would have been lit of fire. The people paddy burned up. You know how much months they got to be working for that to burn the paddy? Is that what we want for people? Is this what you want to do? The Public Utilities Commission would have been on here, and they would have been telling us every day, we are going to remind you if you want to complain about your issues with GPL, GWI, and GPL, GWI, and GTD. These are the numbers. The PUC, Public Utilities Commission, is ready to take your complaints. They want to hear from you. So we would have had them. And of course, we would have talked to you about 45 measures that the government would have announced, $25,000 cash grant for every house affected by COVID. You'd have $25,000, at least several $1,000 that's going to go for every student. We're going to see uniform allowance, $4,000 per student. so many other things that we're talking about. So I want to say thank you very much. We've run out of time, and I know our people are getting ready for the next show. It has been a pleasure coming to you on Wake Up Guyana, and this show would have been coming to you 99.1, 99.5 FM right across Guyana, and as well as we coming to you on Kaieteur Radio on Facebook, on YouTube. It's Kaieteur Radio live stream. We are going to be back with you tomorrow at 1 o'clock, same place, same time, for another edition of the Wake Up Guyana show. I want to say good day. Thank you for joining us locally, overseas, wherever you join us from. It has been a pleasure. I wish I could give you good news. It's bad news today. Have a pleasant rest of the day until then. And thank you very much to our studio guys.
COVID-19 tips sponsored by Dex Soap. 1. Practice social distancing. 2. Wear your mask when leaving the house. 3. Wash your hands regularly for 20 seconds using our Dex Soap. 4. Cover your nose and mouth with a disposable tissue or flex elbow when you cough or sneeze. Choose Dex Soap for that extra cleanliness. Dex Soap is affordable and available nationwide.